Good morning and welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. My name is Lisa Coleman, and we will be talking a little bit about being well in every season of the year. So glad you could join us this morning. So, in talking about being well in every season of the year, I can remember that as I approach the middle ages of my life, somewhere in the autumn seasons, I, for one, was vulnerable to a certain illness during the days of like late October and early November. I would get a particular illness, have to go to the doctor, and based upon some of the things they told me and the medication I needed to take, I did research and found that I needed to wear comfortable clothing. And I observed that having comfort meal actually helped me, sort of like comfort foods. And I purposely aimed to reduce my routine stress levels during these times of late October, early November. And adopting those practices during that time of the year as the autumn season was starting to turn cold as we approach winter. When I adopted those practices, it has worked really well for me for several years now. So, are there subtle changes that you can make to help your dreaded seasons more enjoyable, well, healthy, and welcoming? Are you among the rare group of people that regardless of what season of the year, you're just fine? As a matter of fact, you love every season, whether it's winter, spring, summer, or autumn. Or is there a season that you dread, like cold winters or the hot, scorching days of summertime? I think we all have some sort of preference. And regardless of these preferences, we know that God made all seasons and there's a purpose for each. But how do we find true and fulfilling joy and healthy well being in each season? And we know the weather can affect this. Countless research has shown that weather in all seasons can affect us both negatively and positively, whether it's psychologically, physically, emotionally, and how do we cope with unfavorable seasons so that we will be able to live our best life regardless of the season of the year and be well. Well, I believe the National Institute of Health offers numerous pieces of information and research. As a matter of fact, there's a 2021 article that helps us in those regards. It says, as humans, we cannot modify like the weather and seasonal conditions. We can't change them with our own will. But the most intelligent response for us is to better understand how the seasons affect us and relate those findings, our feelings, to our doctors, to policymakers, so that perhaps certain offerings or health information or more information about how the seasons affect us and perhaps why, maybe, just maybe, that will help us to make subtle changes so that we can be better, regardless of the season. I know my research in speaking with my doctors helped me to make subtle changes. And now October and November can come and go, and I'm just fine. So, what do we do in the meantime? How can we become authentic about how we're feeling? Maybe journal it, write it down as you're going through your tough time. Talk to your doctor, therapist, and even to friends and family about certain things, about how the weather affects you, how it affects your feelings. Maybe, just maybe, talking about it, discussing it in meaningful atmospheres can help you make sense of it and make subtle changes. After all, Ecclesiastes At 3:1 says, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." And so a time for a matter under heaven, that every matter may include the matter of being authentic about our feelings and how seasons affect us and what changes we can make to be our best regardless of the season. Because regardless of the season, God is still with us. The Bible says in Hebrews 13:5, God says, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." Thanks again for tuning in, and be well and have a blessed, beautiful day in every season. Bye-bye now.